Hi, everybody. Welcome to Conversations with Calvin. We the Species. Chronologically, it's August 5th, and I'm with Maria B. Jensen, and I'll refer to her as B. And we have just bonded for the last hour. Uh, Before we went on air, we've been talking about her journey, her work, some of my journey and work, and some overlapping, and the spiritual components of her and me, and what magnetized me when I was given information about B from Influencer Press was her journey and the work that she does as a certified dream builder coach. And we're going to talk about that. And she does transformational coaching and speaking, and she's an inspiring speaker. And the work that she does, this is official title. She's a transformational leadership coach for passion, purpose, and exponential growth. This is that stuff. I eat this stuff up because I came from a wonderful environment at Luxottica, and I took 50 courses in trying to make me a better person and a better communicator, et cetera, et cetera. So when I saw all this that B is doing, it was an oh wow. It's an oh wow because she's a Jersey girl. That's even better, you know. This is so important. The work that she does. It's so important, as I sit in my octogenarian perch, looking down and absorbing, as I've been absorbing be for the last hour. It's kind of an oh wow, and how important it is for everybody's personal growth and team growth, and that's what she does. So this is a really special hour that we're going to spend together, and hopefully more to come. So my little monologue is done, and B, if you could do a little bit of a background, and then we're going to jump in to some things about your work, about
Mhm.
you, and more things that your strategies and things that you do. So take it away.
Well, thank you, Calvin, for having me here in your podcast show and giving me a space and time to be able to share my story and share my message to the world. And I hope it will add value to your audience. And basically, I left a job after so many years and I ventured to start my own company called Life and Career Transformation. And as the name implies, I think for as long as we're alive, there's always a chance for us to transform ourselves, to become better versions of ourselves. And that's why, whether we're as individuals, as living our own lives, or in the context of the workplace, pursuing careers and professional growth and development. So I believe that in that context of the business, I can be supportive to those individuals as well as professionals who are undergoing transition in their lives, probably haunted by a craving for something better, more meaningful, and more fulfilling, and not knowing quite how to start and where to begin and how to go pursue that life and career that they truly love and deserve. So, I offer companionship in that area and hoping to guide them through along the path that will help them gain not only clarity but confidence and courage to pursue that dream life and career they've always longed for.
Thank-
So that's in essence what I love to do and what I love to share to the world.
thank you. One of the topics I jotted down, and it's part of this question. So, what inspired you to talk about, quote, claim the life you love and deserve? What inspired you to do that?
Well, I believe that every human being has the inherent right to claim the life or career or professional pursuit that they love and deserve that will make them really happy. And that the way to do that is really to be connected with their own passion and purpose in life. And it really stems from my own set of values. I believe that every human being has dignity and value that deserves to be respected and upheld because they are an image of their own creator, and there's dignity in that. And they were created to live life fully. And I think everyone deserves that because they're worth it. Every person is worth it, worth that life, fully lived and fully enjoyed, and really to, sharing their time, their talent, their treasure, and living it out to the fullest that they can. And it will lead to a sense of fulfillment, a sense of alignment, and knowing that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing and enjoying every moment of it.
Okay. Okay. If you can put this into a short form, how does one claim the life they love and deserve? I guess channeling through you for some
Mhm.
guidance.
I thought of an acronym for that. It's called B cares. BE cares. Okay. B stands for believing in your own self-worth. Because if you don't believe in your own self-worth and your own value, nobody else will. So you have to start from you, okay? And believe that you have value, you have dignity, and stand up for that. The E, envision with as much clarity as you can the life that you love and deserve, and especially specifically, what would you love in the area of your health? What would that look like for you? Envision what your life would look like in the area of your relationships, whether it's a partner in life, your family, your friendships. What would that look like? What would you truly love? In the area of vocation or your calling, what would be a meaningful career for you to pursue? Envision what would you be doing? What would you be giving? Uh, how would you use your talents in that area? And in the terms of time and money freedom, what would you do to be spending your time for something very important to you? Okay, so because how you spend your time is really a reflection of what you value most. And if we really took an inventory of how we spend our time during the week, it's a good mirror reflection of what we truly value. So if you have a balance between life and career, you'll see that there'll be just as much time spent with your loved ones and your own life and your enjoyment, and also compared to the time you spend with career. So that's a food for thought. So believing and envisioning, those are the first letters, B. The third letter is C, clarity about your own identity. Who are you? What do you believe? What do you stand for? What do you value in life? Okay, that is very important because it helps you to attain your own authenticity. Okay, authenticity is the key to really living life that's aligned with your soul, with your heart. Be true to who you are. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be ashamed. Don't hide it. Just take a stand and speak your truth quietly to whoever you meet without getting into arguments or having to defend, but just speak your truth quietly and respectfully, and also recognize that other people have also their truths that they want to share, and be respectful of that as well. The R is for resilience. Believe in your own power within you that you can overcome any challenges, any setbacks, any obstacles, and any circumstances in your life, to rise above it and to thrive and continue living, because you are more powerful than all these circumstances. Never, never let circumstances be an excuse for stopping your life or for stopping yourself from pursuing what you really love. Okay. The E, the next E is encouragement. Encourage means to instill courage. First within yourself, you have to have courage to step up and boldly say, this is what I think, this is what I feel, to speak up and speak your truth. But you also have to have the courage to say, this is what I want of life. And oftentimes, because of negative self-belief, a negative self-talk, people hold themselves back a lot. And also because of fears. So the idea is have courage, overcome those fears, overcome those obstacles and blocks, and move forward. Okay? Because you don't want to look back and say, I never tried because I was too scared. Okay? And the last but not least, systems, system of support and accountability. So part of that is find someone that you trust who has your best interest at heart in terms of your own growth and development, and hold yourself accountable have to that person, so that if you set yourself, say, I want this goal at the end of this month, and what are you going to do about it, and what have you done about those things you promised yourself you're going to do. Otherwise, if we're always so used to doing things by ourselves, we might fall into the trap of falling into our own old habits of thinking, and we may never do anything about what we wanted to do. So again, the acronym is B cares. So remember those letters, okay?
By the
So
way, I'm taking notes.
thank you.
I may be the only interviewer. I never saw Johnny Carson or Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel taking notes, and I'm taking notes. So
Well,
wrote it
thank
all
you.
down. Yeah, well, I'm taking notes. Um, okay. What are some of the values that you uphold and live by? And you briefly touched on it, but more specifically.
The first and foremost, this is, I think, there I ge- I really appreciate my parents for planting in our hearts and in our minds the gift of faith. Believing that we are creation of God who loves us, and therefore he who is so powerful loves us and created us because he wants to shower us with all the goodness that he created. We must be precious in his eyes. Okay? So faith, not only that, but I also believe that he has given us everything we need so we could live this life fully, if only we believed, if only we were resourceful enough to recognize the value of the gift of life and resources that surround us already. Okay. So not just in terms of money, but resources in terms of time, in terms of people that have been there for us, in terms of the beauty of nature that surrounds us. So that's one of the things that really withstood the test of time, so that no matter where I'm planted, whether I'm in my country or here in this United States, it has always surpassed the test of time. The second thing is the value of loving families and loving friendships. I think we are social beings. We were meant to connect with each other, so that through our encounter with one another, we recognize the beauty and lift each other up, especially in this life can be trying. We all know that. We all have our ups and downs. And just be a source of support for one another as a sign of our love for each other. But sometimes it even goes beyond just the family and the immediate friends and circle of friends. It can even go beyond to the community if you're so called. And then in that loving relationship, there's the value of respect and integrity. Integrity being knowing who you are, knowing what you believe, what you stand for, and unapologetically being able to speak your truth, and being able to speak and share the truth of who you are with others, hoping that when you walk away, you've left the place a better place than you when you first entered it. And the people you parted ways from, we become better versions of ourselves because of that, I would say, divine encounter. So And then integrity and respect is part of that.
Nice.
And also learning and growth. I'm always, like I said, I'm lifelong learner. There's so much to learn in life, not just from the mistakes we make, but also from the people we meet and the circumstances in our life. There's always a lesson there if we're willing to learn. Wasn't that Einstein is, I'm paraphrasing what he said, but it's something like, it seems strange to go back to the same situation, problem with the same mindset that created the problem to begin with. So unless you're willing to change your mind and change your way of thinking, there's no growth there. So I always like to learn and see how I could do it better or be better.
Be better.
To be better.
Be, be better. Funny you brought up Einstein. We talked so much about spirituality. 20 years ago or so, I found this picture. Uh,
Mhm.
it's Einstein's eyes,
Oh, wow.
and it's been looking at
Beautiful.
me for 20 years. And maybe 20 years ago, I began to channel in my own spiritual way, Albert Einstein.
It's
Uh,
beautiful.
and I would reach out and talk to him like I'm talking to you. And I said, listen, and just like I'm talking to you. And I said, dear Albert, I'm not channeling you for you to teach me relativity because I ain't never gonna, never. But if you can channel some energies from wherever you are, I'd love to be a better writer. And from that moment on, my writing seemed to have improved, to the point where yesterday I was runner up in the New York Festival of Books for general fiction. I mean, a huge honor.
Beautiful.
And I absolutely attribute that. It's funny you said that, B, to Einstein. Anyway, moving on. Uh, what do you believe is your purpose in life?
I believe in, after all the experiences I have and all the values that I've been taught through life, I believe that I'm being called by my creator to be a channel of his peace, love, joy, hope, light, and inspiration for everyone that I encounter along the way, starting with my family, my loved ones, my friends, and even strangers on a train ride. And I think each and every one of us has that opportunity to just be an instrument of hope, no matter where we find ourselves. And if we stop for a moment to say, how can I be a source of inspirations for this person right now who is seeking upliftment? It will really make a difference in the world, I believe. And in my own way, using the time, talent, and treasures that have been gifted to me, I'd like to be able to do that through my work in this life career transformation and in my day to day life. And this is a story that I've often shared, but it seems there is something about riding the train where that calling is always affirmed, Calvin. Because three times already I find myself in a train ride while I find myself meeting strangers, and before I know it, they start sharing their heart and soul and opening up. And before the train ride is over, we are both crying our hearts out. And before the train ride is over, we're both praying for each other. And then one of them was a complete living in New York by herself. And I offered to give my contact information to her and said, thank you. What you have done for me is enough to keep me going. And complete stranger. It doesn't have to be glorifying me. She didn't even need to know my name or my phone number. That simple encounter is enough to make a difference in someone's life and open our eyes every day. There's someone there who could use lifting up with a smile, with a word of encouragement. It doesn't have to cost much. Just be open.
There's an expression. Now, I'm not sure if it came from the Quran,
Mm-hmm.
Bible, or somewhere, and it's one of my favorite expressions. And listening to you made me think of it. Here's the uh, he or she who saves a life saves the world. And it's really nice, you know.
Yes, yes.
It's one of my
One life at a time.
yeah, yeah. It's heavy stuff. This is good stuff.
Yes.
And you and I are brought together because there's a reason.
Mhm.
I'm going to go off topic.
Sure.
One quick second before we jump back. This is one of my favorite questions to ask. I borrowed it from one of my favorite journalists. And here goes, excluding family or friends,
Mhm.
somebody living or dead you'd like to spend a day with.
Living or dead?
Uh-huh.
I believe in Jesus. I'd love to spend a day with him.
Kind of knew you were going to say that.
Because I love his message of um, the Sermon on the Mount, where blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are the meek of heart, for they shall see God. Okay. And then, so there's so much in the simplicity of his teaching that brings us back to what really matters. It's not the material thing, but it's total trust in our creator and the gift of life and the flow of life that's within us, beating every day.
Yeah.
And I want to learn more from him, although right now his teaching is just as alive as it was years ago. But if I have the moment, that woman, remember that woman who wanted to touch just the tassel of his cloak, and with her faith, she was completely healed. And and there's so much healing in this world that needs to take place, and that's what I'm gonna pray for.
Yep, I agree. I can tell you off air, I'll tell you some interesting stuff. That's why
Yeah,
I wrote the Pope, because I've had so many connections.
that's
Uh,
beautiful. Yeah,
yeah, and I felt I needed to express myself. And the gifts that I've been receiving, these gifts of spirit. Anyway, moving on.
perhaps there's another book in the making.
Uh, by the way, there is.
Kayo
Yeah,
namin ni Calvin.
it's funny. I don't, at my age, I don't want to, I've got four books to write now, and
It's okay.
I want to
Age
see.
is just a number. What are you
Of
talking
course, it's
about?
a number, but
Like we said, 70 is just the new 25. You're just
right,
starting it.
I like that. So 80, maybe I'm 35. I could, I could deal with
It's just
that.
25, the beginning of a
Yep,
new career.
deal with that. Um, what do you want to be remembered for, B?
Someone who made them feel seen, heard, valued, appreciated, and loved. Because I think that's basic human need that we all share.
Okay.
And yes, and so that's all. And then someone who reminded them that they had beauty and dignity, and they deserve to be respected, and they deserve to be loved
Okay.
and fulfill their lives.
Nice to put. Um, we're going to get into some clinical stuff now. One quick in this first segment, what services do you offer? And that's important for people to know what you offer. And I've got pages of things that you do for me.
Basically, I offer um, a transformational program that could help them think bravely, act boldly, and believe confidently in their own self-worth. So that's the essence of that transformational program. It's been proven and reliable and it works. Okay. And it helps them to refocus and reframe their mindset. It also shifts their own energy level. So they're always motivated and energized to pursue what it is they decided to do. And it also results in behavioral habits, shifts in their habits, because the way we think affects the way we feel, and the way we feel affects how we react or respond to the world and the circumstances. And it ends up in the results that we see. So if you take a good hard look at the results of your life, it's really the results of your own mindset and your own thought processes. So take a good hard look. If you're not happy with the results in your life right now, revisit what kind of thinking do you nurture within your 2 ears. Are you caught in negative self-talk and all that? So if we come to a journey like that where we make them realize that process, and they realize that what's been holding them back is really all the negative self-talk and beliefs, I could help and guide them to a pathway that could overcome the blocks, internal blocks and perception of the external blocks that they see. And then create a blueprint of what they would truly love through that transformational journey. And that will offer them a roadmap how to get there through training, through weekly accountability meetings, and we have coaching as well. And at the end of the program, they come more connected with their own passion, with clarity as to who they are, with courage to go and pursue what they want, and confident that say, hey, I'm worth it. I'm going to go for it. And imagine being energized because you're excited that you're now living the life you want. And now you're able to really do what you love and you look forward to doing it. You're not dragged because you have to report to somebody else, but rather you only have to report to yourself. So that's the kind of result that I want them to see in their lives. They're excited, enthusiastic about their life, and eager and say, yes, I'm alive. So those are the 90-day transformation. It has training, coaching, and accountability system with things that they need to get done. As long as they're willing to apply these principles, they will see results. So I also do speaking engagements if they want somebody to come and speak about how to lift their team up or how to change the mindset of a group of people that are accountable for a bigger community organization.
Important, important stuff. Because
Thank you.
I've been down, I've been down that road, and I can tell you that these things work. Uh, I'm plugging. These things work. What you learn from people who can teach
Mhm.
that really make a difference. There's so many of us who don't. It's funny. Now as I'm listening to you, the analogy I'm thinking of, and maybe even more so with guys. Guys never stop and ask for directions. I'm talking about before GPS.
Yeah.
Never.
I know
The,
what you mean.
Never. I'm not stopping. I'm not going to ask directions. You get lost, you drive around. Of course, I used to joke, I don't need to ask directions because you can't get lost in New Jersey because if you head east, you hit the ocean. You head west, you hit the Delaware, so you can't get lost, but you can get lost. And so it's such an important part for people to reach out to like you for these elements and these pieces of energy to change and better. Uh,
Yeah.
and there's nothing wrong with reaching out for help because there are
Yes.
people who can help and want to help, like you. And sometimes it's so simple. And the hardest thing, I think the hardest thing, and I'm just thinking, listening to you, but the hardest, the analogy for me is a rocket ship when it takes off. Just the first 12 inches it lifts up
Yes.
requires the most amount of energy.
Exactly. That's where
And
the boost is needed. Yes.
that's right. The most amount of energy. So the most amount of energy for people is to realize they need help.
Yes.
That 12 inches of lifting so they can reach out. Uh, hey, we could talk for hours. Maybe we will. But
Thank you for pointing that out. That is correct. That's because it's very easy for us to fall into old habits of thinking unless there's somebody there who's helping you and keep you on track until you those habits the new set of habits become second nature to you. So that's the first lifting up. You know, when the rocket ship needs that boost in the beginning. So I would, like I said, that's where I offer help where that's most needed. Also, one thing I wanted to point out, asking for help is not a sign of weakness. I believe it's a sign of strength because it's a first step towards personal growth and development. And there's no, if we let go of our ego, if you've been running around in circles going through the same way of thinking all the time and getting the same results that you're not happy with, how much longer do you want to get stuck there? And what has it cost you so far? And what will it continue to cost you in terms of emotional strain, mental strain on yourself and stress? Don't you think you're worth the time and energy to really be extended that support? I think you deserve that support. All you need to do is ask and let us know, and we'll be there to help. And sometimes, like, they said if somebody has a clenched fist, it's very hard for anyone else to give that person anything because the fists are clenched. But once they open their hand, they let go whatever they're hanging on to, whether it's pride, whether it's ego. Just let go and let things happen. You'll be surprised what gifts come are waiting for you to be given to you. So give yourself that gift of the help you need to be able to really boost yourself up to where you can be. Yeah. So that's all we can invite you to. Yeah.
yeah,
Because you deserve it. I think all of us
right.
deserve that.
We deserve it, and I'm telling you, it works.
Yeah.
Works. I spent 25 years working for a multi-billionaire, and the things that I learned from that whole environment and the 50 courses that they gave me changed my whole life around, such that I'm writing my next book to talk about the things that I learned. And you can't, uh, you can't do it on your own. And why not
Yes.
take advantage of people who can shine lights on that path to
Mhm.
help you. It's like, oh wow, I never knew this or realized this. There's so much to learn and glean, and to have that life that you deserve. Uh,
Exactly. And there's no judgment in terms of your struggles. We all struggle. Nobody's here to judge. We're all here to help each other. Okay. So none of us are better than anyone else. We're just here to share what we can, the wisdom that we learn along the way, the strategies, the tools that we have available. And could you use this? Could you use that and offer it to each other, And all for the betterment of one another.
yeah, correct. Um, okay, now to some clinical. Um, um, how do you help? And this is important for me. How do you help leaders discover and lead with their passion and purpose? So, how do you take a leader and help them?
Let me One of the things I learned as being a certified member of the John Maxwell leadership team is that your purpose comes from what you're good at and what you're passionate about. And then what do others come to you for? You will always observe that people come to you for advice or guidance on what are you good at in that. So once you discover that what you're good at is a gift that's been given to you, and what sparks your heart, what excites you, what are you excited about doing. So as an example, like, I know I love to listen to people's stories. I love to listen to what they're saying in words, but what they're not saying also in between their words. I love to be able to mirror that back to them and help them see it for themselves, because sometimes when you're in the picture, you don't see the picture, but if somebody mirrors it back to you, then you're able to see more about yourself. So I help them mirror that back. And then they can come to their own realization as to what about this picture needs to be fixed. And then they come to their own conclusion. So oftentimes when people come to me for perspective, or maybe they just like that lady in the train station, letting their heart frustrations come out, just someone who can listen to them. I realized I could do that in the context of a coach, because I'm not there to tell you what to do. I'm there to accompany you in your journey. And so every person, every leader has to ask themselves that, what am I good at? In the same way that, what am I not good at, so I can hire the people who are good at. So I have to be honest enough to admit what I'm not good at, so I can hire the right people to help me. So, and that, how can I inspire others to become better team members, to produce more? So when the leader decides that, and then what sparks my spirit, what do I believe in, what is aligned with my values, then you'll find that that is enough fuel to carry you through ups and downs, crisis, and it's enough to carry you through. You can retire for a job, but you can never retire from your purpose and your calling, because it will keep burning in you because you're going to keep sharing that part of you that's still longing to be expressed out there and to be shared. So you'll know it when you find it. And there was a saying, I don't know the author, that the greatest moments in a person's life is the day they were born and the day they discover why they were born. And and that's when your purpose finally resonates with you. Yes, now I know that's what I'm here for. And as an immigrant into the United States, I used to ask myself, why did I live a comfortable life in my country to come here? What was the purpose here? Why did the opportunities come up for me? And after a long time of sifting through the information, I realized what I'm passionate about is exactly what I shared earlier: helping people see themselves and the possibility of who can they become, just by being present to them, just by listening to them, and being aware of who they are and validating who they are. So that's how I help others, so that they too can do the same to their team members.
Okay. Um, what strategies do you use to drive like exponential team growth and results through your training and coaching?
It's more of a mind shift in terms of leaders understanding what their role is. So, because I think leadership is primarily influence. And when you influence the way your team members look at things, so that they are more motivated versus going on autopilot just to wait for the paycheck. There's a difference between a team member who's there for the paycheck versus a team member because they love what they do. So as a leader, you have a strong capacity to influence that. And I think as a leader, you become more growth oriented as opposed to goal oriented. There has to be an equal balance. So, in other words, how can I, as a leader, help my team member grow, and not just measure him in terms of how far he's reached his goal, how fast he got there, or in comparison to everybody else, but in terms of how can I help this team member grow and learn and become better. Another way that a leader can inspire their team members is that they become more conscious about each other. It's not so much is how fast can I get to the top. Okay. The culture they create is who can I help on my way to the top, and who can I help also get to the top. So it becomes a growth oriented, but also a supportive culture that you create. So those are, it's more of creating that culture and teaching the team and the leader, especially, to buy in into that. And then there's the many aspects of it. It's sort of, it's part of the 11 shifts that a leader should be able to adapt so they could influence their own team members. Another way that they could also influence is that um, they have to be a leader who's doing it because it's a calling, and they have to have enough time to help their team members realize what is their purpose for being there. It's a purposeful presence, because once the team members are able to see the connection between their own personal goals and aspirations and align it, is very much aligned with the goals of the company, and the values of the company is aligned with their own values. It's amazing how motivated they are, because they are being seen and valued as a team member, not just as someone who gets the job done as a check-off list. So they become recognized. So I think those are just three of the multiple ways that we could inspire the team. Because once you believe in your team and tap on their own potential and help recognize it, it's amazing that they will, on their own momentum and their own organically, become dynamic members of the team. There's no sense of comparing or comparison being better or worse than the other, but it's more of, I have my own special gift to contribute, and I'm going to give it my best shot because I like this family that I'm working with.
Okay, nicely said. Makes sense. Makes sense. Wow, does it make sense? Um, you have an extensive experience in teaching adults from diverse backgrounds, and I was doing reading in a million different countries, and you.
Yes.
Um, um, so that uh, how does that background inform your approach to
Mhm.
leadership development?
It increases my, what you call, cultural sensitivity, and my, it helps me also to think twice in terms of my approaches in terms of communication and my messaging to the person in front of me. And so, for example, just an example, if I know I'm dealing with an employee who's from Asia or my country, for example, I have to be careful that I don't make the person lose face in front of the crowd. That's very sensitive to most Asians. They don't want to lose face, or you don't want to be embarrassed in front of all. So I have to have ways where I can sensitively approach the person and point out the areas that he or she could improve in, without embarrassing them in front of the whole community, and help them to also realize that you know they can still improve, that they're not being, let's say, pointed out among the group, or put down in front of the group. And then another area also where, for example, there are different, especially in the United States, in New York, right? It's a place where whoever is the loudest is the one who gets heard, noticed, and rewarded, right? So you have to give, for the sake of equity, you have to give opportunities for everyone to also express their ideas and be able to really recognize that they have something valuable to contribute to the group. It's not just the loudest. So there has to be a balance in doing that. So being sensitive to the nuances of their culture, and it has implications in terms of how you talk to them, the tone with which you approach them, and also in terms of how do they perceive authority versus the relationship between authority and employee and all that, and that dynamic. How is it impeding them from progressing and moving forward? Is it impeding them from communicating effectively? And how can we nurture that so that they can find a more effective way to communicate and have a voice in the whole organization? So those cultural awareness gives you an opportunity to create a more um, equity and inclusive environment within your workplace. And if you're willing to really learn from your employees and your team, and they can also be a significant part in contributing to this. Okay? Like, like their input is actually very insightful because they're coming from their own unique perspective. So your willingness to listen to your whole team could also influence whatever policies, procedures you have to make the system work. At least they can say that they have a chance to impact and make a difference as well.
Mhm. You said something. Yeah, again, I'm still taking notes. Uh, well, and you said something. Getting up in front and teaching and leading and doing what you do is an art form. You have to take and I'm learning and I'm, the things I wasn't aware of. You're in a multicultural, diverse environment, and you have to take into consideration such subtle things like if you're with a group of Asians, and
Mhm.
I never realized that, but culturally they don't like to lose face, so you
Yes.
have to respect that, and you
Mhm.
have to work around that, and that, of course, helps you bond with that group and helps them open up and helps
Mhm.
them learn even better.
Mhm.
So what you're doing, LA, listen, I taught at Rutgers a few years ago, but it's different. You have to be so aware
Mhm.
of whom you're teaching. It's really involved. This is
Yes.
it's intricate and involved. I
Yes.
don't realize how it is.
Yes. Yeah,
Um,
it takes a lot on the teachers. And also another way you could do it effectively is also create a kind of a shared agreement in a multicultural gathering where at the beginning of the class you said like let's give space for everyone so that you don't take most of the space, but you make space for others. That's one of the agreement. Let's let's practice confidentiality. Let's practice respect. Your perspective, you own your own voice because you come from your own experience, but let's respect the perspective of another. They're not trying to argue with you, they're just sharing what the truth they experience. Let's agree to disagree. Let's give people a chance to opt out. For sometimes some people are very sensitive about sharing personal information, some are not. So if they opt out because the topic is too emotionally triggering for them, we'll respect their decision not to participate because it's too emotionally charged, and that's okay. And that's okay. And then let's respect the fact that we can't all find solutions to the same problem in one sitting of being together, but we started the conversation. So that's how we encourage people to start feeling safe and secure in that environment of respect, confidentiality, and upholding each other, giving each other voice. Yeah.
okay. One quick off-topic question. These are things I just like to.
Sure,
Uh,
sure.
yeah. Some of your favorite movies.
Sound of Music.
Funny you said that.
We just watched it the other night. I
Yeah,
love that Sound of Music.
it's on my reels. On my reels, there must be some kind of a retrospective because I'm getting a million reels a day on Sound of Music. Uh,
Yes, yes, yes.
love that
I
movie.
love it. I love it. And it's just the beauty and the simplicity of life and at that time and and the idea her resilience in terms of facing those challenges in her life and really saying, um, why am I so scared? I've always dreamed of a life I can dream of, and then why am I so scared? Which is what we all go through. We dream of a life, and when it comes at our door, we're so scared to pursue it. And that's what as a coach, that's what I help people say. You can jump over that fence and you can go for it, girl. So that's why that inspires me and the respect that she gained because she was again true to herself, and then she just allowed the children to really be themselves, be children, and have joy and have life, and 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 in that blossoms some beautiful relationship that the father never realized is possible, and that's what I love about it.
It's funny when it came out. I was in college at Rutgers, and every time I had a new date, and
Yeah.
in those days it ran for a long time. It wasn't like a week and gone.
Yeah.
It ran for a couple of months somewhere, and I would always take my that first date I had to see Sound of Music. I love that movie too. That's kind
Yes,
of
yes.
funny. All right, two more clinical things, and we're gonna kind of wind down. Um, you got some you have some really impressive certifications, like from NYU and John Maxwell and the Brave Thinking Institute. How does that shape your coaching methodology?
I think what's common in all of them is that they recognize the very same thing that I declare, the value of the spirit within a human being. Okay? The spirit to rise above circumstances and to thrive in life. So that's the commonality in all of this. And as a coach, we were taught how to bring out that spirit because that spirit is always wanting to expand, to grow, to find better ways of expressing itself in this world, whether it's in the form of the individual in their lives or it's a professional in terms of their workplace or in the person of a leader. There's always seeking ways, expanded ways to express oneself. So that's a commonality that all of this training are teaching me is, and then all we do as the coach is helping them see their capacity and potential, harness that potential, and bring it out so that they can be the best person they can be, whether they're being the executive of an organization or a leader or an emerging leader, or whether they're a team member, or whether they're also individuals, um, probably an empty nester who's at the crossroads of their life and say, what's my life all about? What's next? And then sometimes they've forgotten they have that potential for still living the life fully because they've spent their life caring for the children. Now they have a, a clean slate to start life again, and it's never too late, right? So that's the commonality, is that the coaching is just accompanying the persons towards their own journey of self-discovery, so they have find the clarity of who they really are authentically, what they would truly love, create a blueprint towards what they can become, and a roadmap to get there so that there's a clear direction, and offer the guidance, support, and system necessary to get them the boost initially so that
Mhm.
they can fly on their own and soar.
Wow.
So that's the commonality, whether organizationally, business wise, professionally, or individual. That's what it brings out.
Okay. Okay. Last question, and lately this term emotional intelligence has been flying across my visual field, and I keep saying I'm not quite sure exactly, and I never looked it up. I usually look things up, but can you explain, first of all, define emotional intelligence. And can you explain the significance of emotional intelligence and socio-emotional learning as ingredients in leadership today?
There are four key elements in emotional intelligence. They emphasize the importance of number one, self awareness, being able to really understand oneself, one's emotions, and understand the triggers that really bring up those emotions in oneself. So being self-aware by noticing what they're noticing about their circumstances that bring that. And the second aspect of that is learning how to manage that, manage oneself. Sometimes people just have an outburst and have no idea what triggered that. But so that starts with being aware. And then now that you know this in this area, when this happens, you tend to have an emotional outburst. How do you manage that? So self-management is the key also. And I think whether you're a leader in your own family or you're a leader in an organization, that is key because you serve as a role model for everyone else following you. Okay. And they're watching you in terms of how you respond to different crises or triggers. So once you've mastered that, then there's also the social awareness. Okay, the social awareness in terms of, okay, what's going on in the bigger picture outside of myself. So that's where the sensitivity, awareness of the other person, and being able to manage the relationship with those others that are within your either immediate circle or the bigger circle within your workplace. So with that awareness, then you become sensitive, not also but responsive in a way to deal with, okay, with this person, it's very important that I communicate this way with this person because this person is process oriented, or that person is wants to get things done. He's product oriented, or this person is, they have different ways of communicating depending on the personalities. So this is the only way to have effective communication is knowing who the audience is and how they best receive that information. Just an example. One person was sharing with me that she was trying to explain something to her boss and he never gets it. So she finally realized that her boss was a visual person. When she finally put everything in pictures and graphs, her communication was smoother because he got it, because he's a visual person. So being aware and also having the knowledge and skill sets to be able to, let's say, navigate the communication so it's more effective between that person because you're aligning the process so it's easily received. That message becomes, and then and most of all, integrating all that, making kind of informed decisions based on all the factors that you have taken into consideration. So that's the most important part that I think the leader's emotional quotient is really important factor that I think can play a role in managing the teams better. And when it comes to social emotional learning, there have been a lot of emphasis in terms of even at the early stage, children can learn this if we create a space for them where they are able at an early stage understand what their emotions are, have the ability to express it, and are taught ways to manage that early on. And they just don't throw a tantrum because they don't get what they want, but they really learn ways early on in terms of understanding what made them throw a tantrum and then having ways to say, okay, what's a better way to ask for what you want? And then how to handle objections or rejections or people saying no. So if they I think they learn this early on in life, it could help them tremendously in terms of their social relationships with friends and later on in their own workplace where when they go into their jobs. Those are some of the soft skills that I think companies are also looking. Are you a team member? Are you are you how do you respond when there's conflict? You know. So those are I think important skills soft skills that people are cognizant nowadays.
Okay. You said something, or you said a lot of stuff. I keep taking notes here. I've got 2 pages of notes. Thank, thank you. I'm supposed to sit here and enjoy and ask questions. I'm taking notes. But you said something that like it was like an oh wow. You talk about leadership, 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 and organizations and all this, but it never dawned on me because I woke up one day not too long ago and I realized I'm the patriarch of my family.
Yes.
And you never even consider and dwell on the elements that you're talking about in leadership of a family.
Yes.
Wow.
Leadership is influenced. What you say and do, your children are watching you. It's impacting them for life.
Yeah.
And there has to be a consciousness in terms of how can I lead my children and my spouse and my whole family so they become prepared for as future citizens.
So it's wow. It's so your world is not only the world of business, but it's a world of personal growth and
Yes.
and it's so valuable. Uh, we could we
Gone forever.
go on and on. It's a good place to kind of do a wrap right now. This has been wonderful, and I'm herewith inviting you to come back in any shape, way, form. To bring some people back, and I've got a nice little uh, uh, I've got a nice little podcast here, and I've got a little platform, and come back and talk about things, and because this is never ending, it's a
Yes.
never ending story, and I'm listening to you, and I've been amazed at what the things that the common sense and the brilliance of what I'm hearing, and so this has been really one of my favorite words is sumptuous.
Oh.
Uh, Nice word. So this time with you has been sumptuous.
Well, thank you. Thank you and I do thank you for not only providing the space and time for me to share my story and my message, but also for what you do for others who are also eager to share their message and stories because like I said, you're planting seeds of hope, even for those who may not be able to see, but somewhere around the world, we hope that it will inspire someone somewhere to say, you know, life is beautiful.
It is.
You don't have to give up on it so
No,
easily.
it is. It is. It is. It is.
Yeah.
And that's always been one of the goals. I know I'm not going to interview George Clooney and I'm not going to interview Oprah, but I can develop a platform because there are armies of people like yourself who are so wonderfully accomplished and professional and caring, and I can perform and give a platform, and I take that stuff really seriously. So, um, come back, uh,
Thank you.
and I'm just going to stop recording now. Don't leave. We'll do a 2-minute wrap. But I can't thank you enough for your time and your passion and your knowledge, B. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a gift for your audience if they want it.
Sure,
Do you want me
sure,
to offer that?
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I have a free gift. It's called How to Create an Abundant Mindset. So if you Google life-career-transformation.com, that's my website, and the homepage, there's a free gift if you want it. And I hope you do take advantage. And there's also, if you wish to have a one-on-one complimentary session with me, I'd be happy to speak with you and go deeper into your own search for your authentic self. And if you want to carve a blueprint as to the life you love, I offer the complimentary 45 to 60-minute session. It's all so on my website. So just sign up for the discovery session and let's discover that authentic, beautiful self that's waiting to be uncovered.
Perfect. Perfect. That's perfect. And I'll have all that information when I post this. So thank you. Thank you. Don't leave. Um, I'm just going to stop recording. Thank you.